Hello from Ontario, Canada. I've made it to Ontario, Canada, thanks to Destination Ontario, who's sponsoring this video. I'm currently in the city of Toronto for the very first time, and first impression, I totally underestimated how beautiful this city is. I'm staying at Delta Hotels downtown, and my room has a panoramic view, and when I walked in, my jaw dropped when I saw all of the water, the islands out in the water, the ferries moving between them, the city skyline, the CN Tower is right here. What a beautiful place to live. Those of you who live in Toronto, wow. So I'm going to be spending the week exploring, and not just Toronto, I'll be renting a car and doing a little road trip as well, which I always love. And I'm excited to see some of Ontario for the first time. This morning I've caught the ferry out to the Toronto Islands. There are 15 small islands out in Lake Ontario, just off of the mainland, and it's a really quick ferry ride to hop out here. It's like 10 minutes. And as you can see behind me, you get the most incredible skyline views. They're completely unobstructed, and there's so much green space out here. It's all walking paths and fields and little arched bridges connecting the islands together. It's so cute. Perfect little trip to get outdoors and also get some great city views. There's no shortage of things to do with a day in Toronto. There's restaurants, museums. I went to Casa Loma, which is a historic castle, but the highlight of the day was definitely a sunset helicopter flight over the city skyline with Toronto Heli Tours. We got to fly right around the CN Tower, take in the views across Lake Ontario, and it was such a cool way to get a different vantage point of the city. But if you're not up for a helicopter flight, you can also get great city views from the CN Tower observation deck. This is on the 114th floor, and I went right after sunset to watch the city light up at night. I've rented a car and driven to Niagara Falls, which is a place I've heard of my entire life and seen in the movies, so it's pretty cool to be here to see it for myself, definitely crossing something off the bucket list here. However, I have arrived knowing absolutely nothing about Niagara Falls except that there are waterfalls here. And I didn't realize how much of a destination this is. There are resorts and hotels, restaurants, attractions. There's so much more to do here than just see the falls. I thought it was just going to be like a scenic natural feature that you drive up to and see. I didn't realize people plan entire vacation getaways to Niagara Falls for all of the things you can do here. I'm staying at the Sheraton Falls View Hotel, which is right on the river, and this view is pretty impossible to beat. I have a completely unobstructed view of the river and the falls. I can lay in bed and look at the falls. I can sit in the bathtub and look at the falls. It's pretty spectacular. There are lots of ways to spend a day at Niagara Falls, but here's how I did it. First, I woke up before sunrise to walk down to the main falls lookout to see the sun rise over the falls. It's so pretty in the morning when the light starts to catch the spray coming up, and totally worth getting up for. Later, I headed to the Whirlpool Aerocar. This is one of the many attractions you can visit along the river, and depending on what all you want to see, you should look into getting an attraction pass. They also give you a little passport to get a stamp at each place you visit. Then in the afternoon, I did the Niagara City Cruises boat tour to the falls. This is probably the most iconic activity to do here. Here I am thinking this parka is actually going to keep me dry. This is a very cool and immersive experience, but leave your camera behind. I decided to just bring my phone because it's waterproof, and that was the right call. You will be completely soaked by the spray of the falls, but it's so fun. After that, I dried off and headed over to Niagara Helicopters to take to the skies for a bird's eye view of the falls. They run tours year-round, and it's really interesting to see the aerial view of the earth dropping like a shelf with water plunging over the side. There was even a rainbow across the mist. And then my last activity of the day was heading to the Niagara Parks power station for their nighttime experience, where you get to walk through an illuminated tunnel to a viewing platform near the base of the falls. And then from May to October, there's a nightly fireworks display at the falls, which is easy to view from pretty much anywhere along the river. I've driven up to Muskoka, which is a region about 2 hours north of Toronto that's known for its outdoors. The entire region has over 1,600 lakes, and it's often referred to as the Hamptons of the North. This morning, I'm down on the docks of Lake Rosso, which is so beautiful and tranquil. I'm currently staying at Windermere House, which is a resort right here near the water. It was built in 1870, and it's one of the oldest and most iconic resorts in the Muskoka region. And it has so many amenities, especially spa amenities. They have these amazing outdoor barrel saunas with lake views that are just incredible. They have an outdoor heated pool, a spa, steam rooms, and they also have canoes, kayaks, and paddle boards so you can get out on the lake. One of the highlights of my time in Muskoka was visiting the Muskoka Lakes Farm and Winery, which is home to Johnston's Cranberry Marsh. Here you can do wine tastings, wagon tours to learn about the cranberry harvesting. They have fire pits to sit around, and they even have a little cafe complete with a golden retriever lounging in the front. This afternoon, I'm doing the famous cranberry plunge, where I get to wade into the cranberry bog. It feels like the most fall activity. Something that's very nice, I wasn't sure about this, is the boots that they give you are seamed. They're connected to the waders, so it's all one piece. I thought you would get like the separate boots, and I was wondering how you stay dry, but you stay completely dry because it's all one piece. If you ever get the chance to wade in a cranberry bog, I very much recommend it. This afternoon, I've hiked up the Huckleberry Rock Lookout, which has one of the best views in all of Muskoka. You get a really great landscape view with the lake in the distance. And it really is a rock that you hike up. It's not a trail like a path. It's this big expansive rock that's kind of a choose your own path on the way up, but it's an easy hike. It took me like 10 minutes to get to the lookout. If you're in the area, it's definitely worth stopping and doing for the view. Well, this is it for my time in Ontario. I've had the best time this week running around, exploring, and I feel like I got such a varied, well-rounded experience too, from the big city of Toronto and getting to see the views from the CN Tower, and then heading down to Niagara Falls, which is one of the most scenic natural features on the planet, spending the day appreciating that, and then heading up north to Muskoka, which is very outdoorsy and scenic and quiet. I feel like I got a little bit of everything, and I definitely would recommend all three places if you come to Ontario. It was really easy to rent a car and hop around, and I imagine all three places are really beautiful any time of the year. Well, it's time for me to head to my flight, and I'm already at the airport. I stayed at the Sheraton Gateway here at the Toronto airport last night. It's so nice, and it's right here at Terminal 3, so I get to just walk out the door this morning and go to my flight. I don't have to worry about logistics of getting to the airport, which is so nice. Thanks for coming along with me on this one. I hope you enjoyed seeing some of Ontario, and I'll see you next time. Bye.